Hello, and welcome to Money Matters. We will be with you momentarily. Money Matters. After this presentation, you will be able to evaluate your student loans and repayment options, understand how to build and maintain your credit, as well as how your current spending habits can and will impact your financial future. But first, in order for any student to receive a federal student loan, they must complete and submit a valid free application for federal student aid, also known as the FAFSA. A FAFSA is required for the financial aid office to determine a student's loan eligibility. So what are student loans? It's a form of self-help financial aid that is available for students to use for educational purposes and educational expenses only. It's a debt that must be repaid. A student must be enrolled at least half time, which in most cases is 6 credit hours. It's a loan that can be deferred while the student is in school. Repayment generally begins 6 months after a student ceases to be enrolled at least half time or they graduate. And a standard repayment plan for 10 years is assigned if another repayment option is not selected once a student goes into repayment. Also, there is never ever a penalty for prepayment of a student loan. So there's various types of student loans. First, the federal student loans consist of a direct student loan, a Parent Plus loan, and a Graduate Plus loan. With the direct student loan, it comes in two different components, subsidized and unsubsidized. With the subsidized loan, the lender, who is the U.S. Department of Education, pays the interest on this loan while the student is in school. On the unsubsidized portion of this loan, interest starts accruing as soon as the funds are dispersed to the school, but only on the amounts that's been dispersed. A Parent Plus loan is available for parents of dependent students, which is defined for federal student aid purposes as students under the age of 24. Graduate Plus loan is available for students once they are enrolled in a graduate school program. Parent Plus loan and Graduate Plus loans are both credit-based loans. Next is the alternative student loan, which is a private student loan that is offered through a bank. Institutional student loan is a loan where the school serves as the lender. For CU Denver downtown campus, we do not offer institutional loans to our students. However, for our Anschutz medical campus, our medical students are eligible to apply for institutional loans. More about the direct student loan. Again, the student must complete and submit a valid FAFSA application to the financial aid office, an annual fixed interest rate, which is determined every July 1st based on the Treasury bill, 6-month grace period before repayment. So while a student is enrolled in school at least half time, they're in a in-school deferred status. They must sign a master promissory note or a MPN and complete entrance counseling. The master promissory note is your promise to repay the loan. It also provides information about your responsibility to the lender as well as the lender's responsibility to you. The entrance counseling is an online test to ensure that you understand what you're signing up for is a loan and that it must be repaid. And again, the subsidized loan is awarded to undergraduate students only. That's where the government pays the interest on the loan, but a student can also receive subsidized and unsubsidized. If the FAFSA determines they're not eligible for the subsidized portion of the loan, they would receive the full amount in the unsubsidized loan. There are also various repayment, deferment, and forbearance options in case of financial hardship. Examples of monthly payment plans once you go into repayment. So if your average interest rate was 5% over a standard 10-year repayment period, if you had $5,000 in loan, your monthly payment would be about $58 a month. If you have $50,000 in loan debt upon graduation with an average interest rate of 5% over 10 years, your monthly payment will be approximately $395 a month. With the alternative student loans or private loans, it's considered a consumer loan. It's not federally protected like the federal direct student loan. In the case of death, on federal student loans or permanent disability, those loans would go away. With alternative student loans, in the case of death, they will go after your estate or send you to collections. With alternative student loans, the student is the borrower, not the parents. It is a credit-based loan. Students may require a cosigner. Interest accrues immediately and is at a variable rate. Sometimes it can be fixed, depending upon the lender. Repayment generally begins 6 months after graduation, where the student ceases to be enrolled at least half-time. Sometimes their repayment option can be 9 months after graduation. And there are fewer protections as far as deferment, repayment, and forbearance options. Other various repayment plans consist of the standard repayment plan. Over 10 years is the most cost efficient and the least amount of interest accrues on this repayment option. Next is the graduated repayment plan. This one takes into consider your income and household expenses. So if you are not able to make a full monthly payment, including principal and interest, they will allow you for the first 2 years to just make interest payments. Your finances will be reevaluated after 2 years to determine whether you can make interest payments and a little bit of principal. And they will continue to do that process over the next 10 years until that loan is paid off. Another repayment option is the extended repayment plan. With this plan, you have to have a minimum of $30,000 in student debt. Other plan is called income-based or income-sensitive, as well as pay-as-you-earn and repay-as-you-earn. These look at your household size, your income, poverty level. It reevaluates every year what your financial circumstances are. The goal of these plans are to lower your monthly payment to make it affordable, but the repayment time frame can be anywhere between 10 years and 30 years. So of course, over a 30-year time frame, the amount that you pay in interest can almost double the amount of your original loan. So consequences of defaulting on a student loan, and sometimes this ties into other forms of credit as well. You will be reported to the credit bureau as having a negative result on your credit report. They can determine that you can no longer make monthly payments and demand that you pay the full amount immediately. It could deem you ineligible to receive future state and federal student aid if you're planning to continue your education. They could take your federal and state income tax refunds. You can be assigned to a collection agency or a federal government agency. They can sue you by taking you to court and ask the judge to make you pay their attorney fees and collection costs for having to go through that process. And many times they take the situation to court so they can get permission from the judge to contact your employer to garnish your wages. A garnishment is where they are allowed, in some cases, to take up to 20% of your income of your weekly or monthly paycheck before you receive it. Now, your employer knows that you are not paying your bills, and sometimes that can cause consequences with employees. Your professional licenses and certifications can also be suspended, which means you can't work. So it is very important to make sure that you stay on top of your repayments and always pay on time. And if you fall into any situation where you're not able to make your payment, contact your lender as soon as possible to make arrangements so that it does not impact your credit. So the wisdom on student loans and debt: set a personal goal to keep your loan debt to a minimum. If you don't need it, don't borrow it. If you decline to accept the student loan but find that you need it later, just contact the financial aid office and ask them to reinstate the loan. It's always there. If you borrow an unsubsidized loan, consider paying the interest while you're in school. What happens upon graduation is the interest that accrues over the years that your loan is in deferred status. Interest is accruing. Once you graduate, the amount of interest that has accrued over those number of years is added to the principal amount of your loans, which is the amount that you actually borrowed. So if you borrowed $30,000 and you had $5,000 in interest that accrued, that $5,000 will be added to the 30. So now it appears that your principal is $35,000 and interest will start to accrue and be calculated off of $35,000. That's called capitalization, and now you're paying interest on top of interest. During repayment, if you're able to pay more than the minimum amount that's due, try to do that as well. You want to try to get your loan paid off as quickly as possible so you're paying the least amount of interest over time. The National Student Loan Database System is a system that is there for student borrowers and receivers of federal student aid. It's a system that stores all federal funding that you have received while you're in school. It tracks your loans. It tells you the amounts that you've taken out each academic year, what the interest rate was, how much interest has accrued, if you've made any payments, what your loan status is, who your lender is, where you should make your payments. So any information you need about your student loans will be on this database system, which is located at www.nslds.ed.gov. You should become very familiar with that website. Budgeting and spending. Budgeting and spending is about taking the time to improve one's knowledge and change one's behaviors about their money habits. So how to create a budget? You want to first list all your income sources from your job, savings, financial aid, money that you may receive from friends, gifts, other relatives, any other kind of in-kind support. Do not include bonuses because bonuses are not promised. Next, you want to list all your expenses. You can create a Excel spreadsheet or download any of the budget apps that can help you formulate this. List out all your expenses, everything that you spend for monthly, your periodic expenses, which consist of like maybe haircuts, insurance payments, if you pay those on a quarterly basis or semi-annual basis. You want to also list out any unexpected bills or expenses you may have and record everything, every single dime that you have spent. You want to do that with tracking your spending habits to give you a better feel as to how you're spending your money, where it's going, and what you can do to improve your financial circumstances. This allows you to evaluate your current spending habits, especially if you're an emotional purchaser where you make purchases on a whim or just emotionally because you're at the mall and you see it and you just want to have it, but it's not included in your budget for that month. You can have those items, but you need to plan for them. So set a short-term or long-term goal for yourself to be able to purchase those items that you may not readily be able to pay cash for, but you can save up for it. Put a plan in place. Save up so you can get the things that you want. So in making financial decisions, again, try not to be emotional. Sleep on it. Try to determine if it's a want or a need. Try to stay within your established budget. Figure out if you have the money to pay for it. If not, if you purchase it, when will you be able to pay it off? Shop around for the best prices. Plan your purchases. Set goals and save. A way to help you save is by opening a savings account. It's a safe place to hold your money. It's easy to establish. Depending on the financial institution, you may have to leave a small deposit in your account to not accrue any fees, but you can generally regularly deposit and withdraw money as needed. But you have to make sure that you sign up for the account that's going to meet your needs and your restrictions. It's recommended to have 6 to 12 months of salary savings in a savings account or some other holding account for emergency purposes. Things to consider to help you save money: graduate on time. The longer you're in school, the longer it will cost you money over time. You can get a roommate, shop consignment stores, clearance racks, buy used books, get books online, sometimes they're cheaper. Eat at home, pack your lunch, go to matinee movies. You can still have fun. Collect your change. I have a jar where I collect all my change, never spend it. You'll be amazed at how quickly it adds up. Save unexpected monetary gifts or bonuses. Forego those daily special coffees and snacks. You don't have to go to Starbucks every morning. You can always invest in a nice coffee brewer. Buy Starbucks from the store and brew your own coffee. Bring your own snacks so that you don't have to use the vending machines. Try to avoid ATM machines because they have fees. And if you withdraw from an ATM machine from a bank that's not your financial institution, for example, you bank with Wells Fargo, but you use a Bank of America ATM machine, Bank of America is going to charge you a fee to use their machine. Wells Fargo is going to charge you a fee because you use someone else's fee. Then you have a transaction fee on top of the other two charges. So the $20 that you just withdrew could easily be anywhere between $7 and $10 additional on your withdrawal. And also think about the envelope method. This helps you to put money on a schedule in different envelopes, like your rent, groceries, entertainment, gas. And once you have spent the allocated money for that particular month or that paycheck, you cannot dip into your other envelopes to take money. So it helps you to see how easily your money is being spent and how it's been spent and what it's being spent on. So you can make adjustments. A budget is not set in stone. It's always looking for you to make adjustments to make it better. Considering future goals. The perception is that you're going to finish your undergrad, maybe go on to graduate or professional school, get a high-paying job on a business, get a brand new shiny car, buy a large home, start a family, and you're investing in your savings and financial investment accounts. Then reality sets in. Student loans are due, so you got student loan payments. If you didn't have a business partner or someone that could invest in your business, you had to take out a business loan. So now that's due. You got to pay taxes because now you have income. Started a family, so now you have childcare expenses, medical expenses, entertainment expenses. Now your investment portfolio doesn't look as happy as you want it to, and you have less disposable income to support your family. So what about credit? What is it exactly? It's trust between a borrower and a lender. It's a loan. It has to be repaid. And it also takes in consideration your ability and your willingness to repay that loan or debt. These are various different forms of credit. Yes, student loans is a form of credit. In many cases, it's the first line item that would appear on a young person's credit report. It's considered good debt because you're pursuing an education to better your future and your financial circumstances. You'll get a job. You'll be able to pay off those loans, which will build your credit. So credit cards have good components and bad components. So with the bad, each dollar you spend has interest and fees that could be attached to it, especially if you don't pay that credit card off at the end of each month. You could use it excessively and purchase things that you wouldn't normally purchase. It could cause you to make late payments, which would definitely impact your credit. And interest and late fees would definitely add up. The good of credit cards is that for emergency situations, it can help you out. In cases where you're going on vacation or doing a study abroad program and you have to purchase airline tickets, transportation passes, and if you are able to purchase them in advance, they're a lot cheaper. And in many cases, they require a credit card in order to make these purchases, especially for vacation. If you're going to rent a car or get a hotel, they will want a credit card on file for most cases to hold your reservation and also for incidentals. Incidentals are those things that if something goes awry as a result of your hotel stay, they would charge your credit card for those. Those nice fluffy robes that's in your hotel room, if one happens to disappear, it will show up as a charge on your credit card. In most cases, credit cards are safer than carrying cash. It helps to establish your credit history because you have to have credit in order to build credit. And in some cases where you make large purchases and you don't get the item that you were expecting and the vendor will not take the item back or credit your account, you can contact the credit card company, explain to them what the situation is. They will enter it in a dispute situation. And in many cases, will pull back that payment from that vendor to force them to work with you. This does not work with debit card purchases, only credit card purchases. So what to look for in a credit card offer? So the terms, they may offer you 0% interest for 12 months, which could work to your advantage if you're trying to get something paid off very quickly with no interest accruing. But what you have to be careful of is that you must pay off that item before that 12-month introductory period is over. If not, then all the interest, regardless of what your balance is on the card, but all the interest from your original purchase over the past 12 months will be added as a expense to your credit card. So you can take advantage of those things, but if it's a 12-month 0% interest, try to get it paid off in 10 months so there's no room for discrepancy of when your last payment was received or when that was paid off. You have to take in consideration the interest rates because after your introductory period, interest rates can go up to 13, 20, 30%. Some are fixed, some are variable. Be mindful of the penalties and fees if you're late on a payment, what that might look like, and what your repayment options are in case you have a hardship. Understanding your credit score. What is a credit score? The dictionary definition is a number based on a statistical analysis of a person's credit history, which represents that person's credit worthiness. So basically, this is a score that looks at your past credit activity and it tells the creditors how good you are with your money. Do you pay your bills? Are you a good credit risk? Should they allow you to borrow that money? So there's 4 C's of determining credit worthiness: character, your capital, your capacity, and your credit score. Your character is basically your history, how you pay your bills, what type of credit you have in use. Are you always late? Do you pay early? Do you pay extra? They're looking at all these things, and all of this is outlined on your credit reports. They look at your capital, which is collateral. What do you have that they can come and get if you don't pay your bill? They also look at your income to debt ratio, your capacity. How much income do you have versus the amount of debt that you already have? If they allow you to get this other item on credit, which adds to your debt, will you be able to pay it back? If your income is much less than what your current expenses are, they will probably deny that because they will be concerned that you won't be able to pay the bills because you don't have enough income to support that. And they don't want to be the one who doesn't get paid. Then your credit score gives you purchasing power. So it's good to build your credit and your credit score so that you have that purchasing power to be able to buy the items that you would like on credit that you will be able to responsibly pay back, which will also cause your credit score to improve. So what's a good credit score? The highest generally about 850. You want to stay at average 700, 690. Pretty much won't have any problems with purchasing any items. You can have a 500 credit score and be able to purchase an item, but your interest rate is going to be very, very, very high. So how you manage your finances now can dramatically impact your life circumstances and your financial future. So what can a credit score impact? Your ability to purchase a home, car, a large item, your ability to rent. Your landlord will run your credit. They want to know if you pay your bills. Utility companies, they may also require a deposit to turn on your utilities, which is your water and your electricity. If you've been good with your credit, then they may waive the requirement for the deposit. That's more money that you would have for your moving expenses. Interest premiums and interest rates can be determined based on your credit score. Some insurance companies for automobiles can deny you car insurance based on your credit report. And then some employers want to know if you have good credit or not, especially if it's a job where you have a fiduciary responsibility. They want to know that you know how to handle your affairs, because that will help them understand whether you would be able to efficiently handle the affairs of that company. So how do you know that you're impacted due to your credit? You don't know how much you owe. You're borrowing or using your credit card to pay your daily expenses. You can only pay the minimum amount due on your card, so you'll never get out of the hole because interest will continue to accrue. You're over indebted at your credit limits, so you're maxed out on your cards. Now you're requesting new credit or calling the credit card company to increase your credit limit so you can use even more credit. You're paying late, skipping payments, even if it says that you have a credit balance where your payment status indicates that you can skip a payment and it's okay. Continue to make those payments because the goal is to get that debt down. You're also impacted if you refinancing loans to get more loans using random debt consolidation programs, which can help some families because it puts all that debt in one place, so you're making one monthly payment so that you don't forget to make one or you're late on another, but you have to destroy those credit cards that you rolled into that debt consolidation. You cannot use those. You have to destroy those and just pay off that consolidation loan. If you're experiencing a garnishment or you have items that's being repossessed, this is how you know you're impacted. So understanding your credit score and how to build it. Foremost is your payment history. That accounts for about 35% of your credit score. Always, always pay on time. The amount that you owe on your credits, if you're at the limit of your credit card allowance, you want to keep that to less than half. The amount of time you have a credit card with a particular company, longevity is key. The longer you have, it shows that you're credible with that company, they trust you, and that continues to help to build your score. New credit accounts for about 10% of your score, and the types of credit in use is about 10%. It's good to diversify your credit, meaning it doesn't hurt you so much if you have a credit card with a department store, maybe a car loan or a student loan or bank loan, because you diversified your debt. So it's various different types of credit that you have out there and you've been responsible with it. It helps to build your credit. But if you have 5, 6 different credit cards from department stores, then that can impact your credit score. How to get from under excessive debt. You want to focus your budget on reducing the debt and your expenses. So you have to determine what your debt is, what the balance is on all the accounts that you have, and what are the minimum payment requirements. You want to contact the creditors, have them decrease your credit limit on your cards. They may give you a credit card with a $5,000 credit limit, but you know that that's dangerous for you. Contact them and have them reduce it to $2,000. And every time you build your credit and you pay something off, they're going to increase your credit limits. You don't have to accept that. You can have them keep your credit limit at a minimum to help you control your spending. Don't take out any new credit. Put your credit cards away. Don't charge anything. Whatever else you need to get, you pay it with cash. If you don't have the cash, you save up for it. You refinance your debt to get a lower interest rate. Consolidate all your debt into one, but you cannot continue to charge on those cards that you consolidated. You destroy them. Do not charge on them. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose. Seek help from a reliable source. Contact your bank. There's a lot of online apps that can support you as well. Advice from the pros: immediately stop using your credit cards. Set a goal with a payoff date to focus on getting your credit cards paid off. Transfer existing balances to a lower interest card that you may have. That may be one of those cases where you get a 0% introductory rate. Transfer it there. There may be a 3% balance charge, but depending on the debt, it may be worth it to help you to get it paid off sooner. Pay your minimums on your low interest cards and the maximum on your high interest cards. Get it paid off quicker, because interest is what's driving the debt. So you want to get those high interest paying cards paid off quickly. Reevaluate your budget. You may have to do that often to reshuffle things to get things paid off sooner. Get a job, work overtime. You get an unexpected gift of money or bonus, don't spend it. Put it towards one of your bills to get it paid off, your refund check. Pay off a bill. Seek assistance to help you get on track. You should also request your credit reports. You get your credit report free every year. The best source to request your annual credit report is at annualcreditreport.com. You have access to 3 different reports, one from TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. You want to order all 3, but maybe stagger out your request over the 12-month time frame. You want to get your credit reports so that you can see what's showing up on your credit report, who's looking at your credit, how your payments are being recorded. You want to make sure everything is accurate. You want to make sure that your identity hasn't been stolen where someone is taking out credit in your name. For those that are males or even females who carry the same name as their parent, sometimes the parent's information can show on your credit report, or your information can show on their report. So if your parents are being responsible, then yeah, maybe it can help build your credit, but if not, it can impact your credit as well. So you want to always monitor your credit report as well as your bank accounts to make sure that what's showing up in your accounts is the activity that you have in play. I usually will order my reports. So maybe I'll order one in TransUnion, review it, make sure everything's okay. A couple of months later, I may request it from the next one, and then a few months later, the third one. So I can stagger them out in case something's wrong on one, I can get it fixed. Then request the next report, because I can't do TransUnion again for another 12 months, but I can look at another report to make sure that that item has been taken off if it shows up on that report. There are some cases where everything will not show up on every report exactly the same. For example, if you take out a car loan, they may only run your credit through TransUnion and not the other 2. So that loan may not appear on the Equifax or Experian credit report. Okay? So you could have 3 different credit scores. And with the annualcreditreport.com, which is the safest place to go where they won't charge you any fees or later on try to get you to buy other products, that is free to you every 12 months. Lastly is identity theft. So when you start to get those credit card offers in the mail, don't just throw them in the trash. You should rip them up. I rip them up and shred them. I may put half of it in my trash at home, and I may take another half, put it in my purse, and I'll throw it away when I get to work or the gas station so that they cannot connect that credit card because it's already pre-approved offer that you receive in the mail. All they have to do is change the address on it, resubmit it, and they're using that card in your name. And you won't find out until you go to seek credit and it's denied and you're trying to find out why. That's why it's important to review your credit reports. Monitor your bank accounts. Be very careful about how you're sharing out your social security number. Then identity thefts also have other pieces of items of your information that they can use to steal your identity. Simply your name, your phone number, bank accounts. So even if you have family or friends over, put your things away. Sometimes your family members are the ones that are stealing your identity because they have all your personal information. If your identity is stolen, the onus is on you to prove that and to fix that matter, and it can be very timely and very time consuming. So, in essence, when you're borrowing money, try to only borrow what you need because you do have to pay it back, and in most cases, with interest. This lists a few online resources that could be available to you. Our CU Denver Financial Wellness page has a lot of information and tips for you and resources. And then there's an online financial wellness program that can help give you a lot of good information about how to manage your finances at Cash Course. That's www.cashcourse.org. Again, Cash Course at www.cashcourse.org. For any questions, please feel free to reach out to me by email or phone. I'd be happy to assist you with any of your questions. Thank you and have a wonderful day.